Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. We have Ray, the Go Home Heat Kid.
I'm here.
We have New Japan Jarrett.
Yes, and I have better timing than Ray.
And we have me, KP. We're going to talk Impact Wrestling and AEW only this week because we have a singled out Wrestle Kingdom podcast that you can find on Spotify, Bullhorn, YouTube, iHeartRadio app, and on your iPhones. Okay, and let's get into this thing. Impact Wrestling. Casey Navarro versus Crazy Steve versus Blake Christian versus Ace Austin is your first match of the new year, and it was fantastic.
Blake Christian.
I think Casey Navarro and Blake Christian were both in
The New
Super
Japan,
Juniors, right?
Or the Super J Cup.
Right.
Yeah, wasn't Blake Christian? Yeah, I think Blake Christian had a match with like El Phantasmo.
That was great.
It was great. Yeah.
Right.
He did a match with somebody that was awesome.
Right, and I thought that was interesting that because they had several.
I'm sorry, do you hear my buttons?
The finish was Crazy Steve implementing a Death Valley driver onto, he had, I believe, Christian over his shoulders, and he rolls into Ace and Navarro, Ace was on the ground, and Navarro, I think, was in the Tree of Woe, and he rolls them into each other, and then turns that into a second rope DDT for the win. And the blind man cometh, Crazy Steve. I am stunned every time I watch Crazy Steve wrestle at how good this blind man wrestles. Legally blind.
Legally blind, yeah. He's not like completely.
He's not Daredevil.
No, that would be cool.
It would be really cool.
Is he actually legally blind?
Yeah, he is legitimately legally blind.
And fantastic.
Yeah.
And not a spring chicken.
Yeah, no, I guess his spatial awareness is phenomenal.
Correct.
He's not like a brawler. He's not like Stan Hansen, who I don't know if he was like legally blind, but that dude could not see great.
Right, correct.
You wonder why Stan Hansen's lariats were like that? You couldn't see him.
Right.
So you just hit him.
Right. Josh and Madison are the announcers for the program, and as they are trying to intro what is going to happen, the Hacker Man, Sami Callihan, rolls in, and we have a picture from his evil lair, which is a bunch of computer screens behind him as he reminds. So interesting to me that Sami Callihan is somehow a computer genius, which I did not think of.
I would not.
As he was spitting loogies into his hand and rubbing them on people's faces over the years. I didn't get the two. It was hard to put them together, but it's kind of neat that it worked out that way.
He didn't do that exact.
Oh, he's gross, dude.
It was close. I mean, I would have figured that he would have like lost the ability to do things after Pentagon
hit him in the head with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I would imagine that he might actually have lost a couple skills, but
Pentagon may be blind.
We'll explain a couple things.
So many years of work.
I've seen that dude drive though.
Yeah.
So I hope not, man.
That doesn't. Yes. I 100% believe Crazy Steve drives.
I believe it.
Okay.
Like Daredevil.
Yeah. So Callahan's in the main event with Eddie Edwards, and he explains to us how Eddie Edwards is and as we all know, Eddie Edwards is kind of the poster child for Impact Wrestling, as he has stayed in the company through the ups and downs, and Callahan lets you know that Eddie has tried to teach you all that hard work, following the rules, doing your best is what gets you ahead in life, and that is a blatant lie, that the bad guy almost always finishes on top, and he will tonight as well. And so I don't disagree with him, as I have watched a lot of wrestling. Cousin Jake and Rhino versus Cody Deaner and Joe Doring are the next thing that pops up over the course of this. And
it's not like normal Cody Deaner.
No. Jake tries to reach out with the olive branch to bring Cody back to the family, and then EY comes out and announces that that's a load of malarkey. That's not going to happen. Does
he say that exact word, malarkey?
He does not. Malarkey is not used nearly as much as it should be in anybody's vernacular.
You're right.
But of course, as you just said, Cody is dressed like a killer. He's got all his hair's cut off. He looks like somehow in like 3 weeks he turned into a different muscular build.
Yeah.
He had the leather jacket with the studs on it, and he looked like a killer.
Yeah.
And and they went out there and wrestled like killers, and it was a good little match, sort of. Jake and Rhino.
The fact that his buddy Doring had like wrestling gear on actually improved his look like tenfold.
Correct.
The fact that he didn't just look like a drunk guy at like the local bar who likes to get into fights because he's big.
Right. And he is pretty good.
Yeah, it was not bad.
Right.
I guess I just had really, really low expectations.
Right. And Jake wrestled differently, and then Jake winds up with the finish, I believe. Let's see what we got here. The finish was the tallywhacker to the uppercut to the tallywhacker.
Classic.
Yeah, the European nutsacker. Then we get the DDT combo on top of that, where he kicks the leg up and down, right? And that worked out really good there as they try to continue the beatdown post. And Tommy Dreamer, of course, comes out with some form of a samurai haircut, correct? And Dreamer says, we're going to have a match at Hard to Kill in some form of a no rules match, because Tommy doesn't really wrestle in matches with rules.
How can you no-sell your own joke? Ray over here dying.
Yes.
European Nutsacker, which is the name of my band, by the way.
Okay, I might have survived that if it weren't for Jared immediately losing it. I was about to make it, but
The European that's the official name.
Yes.
The European Nutsacker.
And a band coming to your town.
it wasn't even a joke. It was.
But I feel like there is a difference, because everyone does the European Nutsacker to do a nut shot, right?
Uh-huh.
Except for El Phantasmo, who does a Falcon Punch right to the jump.
Okay, what El Phantasmo does is crazy.
He literally full arm extension, just straight.
Like when you see somebody go to the top rope, you know, oh, dude, you don't want to do that with this guy.
Oh yeah, he'll walk over.
Because he can straight right you right in the yes, ringing the chimes.
European
The European Nutsacker is what you got there. Okay.
Tommy Dreamer comes out. They're gonna have a Dreamer match.
Yes.
As is tradition per every pay-per-view.
Right.
That Tommy Dreamer. I don't know if it's in his contract.
Right. They've been trying to kill me for years, so it's hard to kill. I'm gonna go out here.
I'm hard to kill. It's like
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ain't lying. Matthew Palmer interviewed ahead of his match with the Moose. He's got a 3-minute match with Moose, which the stip is you can't beat me in 3 minutes, and Moose is gonna kill him. Okay, so Johnny Swinger has an office now because Johnny Swinger found a roll of money in a fanny pack that he absconded. Actually, it was left because they didn't think the Steels and Hogan, not that Hogan.
Tasha Steelz, Kira.
Yes. They lost the money, or they thought they lost the money, so they threw the fanny pack down, and there was a secret compartment in said fanny pack. And Swinger saw a gold fanny pack and thought, upgrade, and lo and behold, there's thousands of dollars in it.
Dude, literally the best day of his life.
Oh, and now he's got an office, and he had an easel there, and they were like, what is that for? And he's like, I commissioned a painting. It's not done yet. It's going to be, what's the painting of? Me.
What else?
Yes.
I'm excited to see it.
And AC Romero is like wanting to know how he can prove his tag team partner's innocence on the shooting of Johnny Bravo, and Swinger gives him the greatest advice you can give a person, which is just walk into the women's dressing room completely unannounced and ask them what they know. I do it all the time, Daddy-O, which is not true.
No. He would no longer be living with some of the knockouts they have being literal demons.
If he was on the women's roster, he'd be the worst wrestler on the women's roster. Fact. And he would, but he is still so entertaining, and just that stupid giggle he does for himself when he pumps his arm in the air, he can just do that, and I'm lost. I'm like, you killed me, you know.
Every time.
Yes. Okay. Deanna Prazo and Kimber Lee head to the ring to do a promo, which I don't want to get into that too much because whatever. But Taya Valkyrie comes out, and everything gets better when Taya Valkyrie comes out, and she winds up saying, I was the longest reigning champ. and I'm going to take it from you. And then, of course, Peraza says that's all you really can hang your hat on anymore. You're fading into the background. And so we're going to wind up getting a match here at Hard to Kill between these two. I can't wait. They try to put a wedge between Rosemary and Taya over the course. Kimberly and Peraza do, and Rosemary and her demons are not having any of this discussion. And then we move to backstage where Chris Bay and Rohit Raju have decided that they're going to team up to prove that TJP is actually manic. And that is how, and so because TJP lost a match in which he wasn't supposed to be able to wrestle for the title as TJP, the manic thing shouldn't count. Therefore, we have to prove he's not manic. So they're going to challenge TJP in a tag team match against them and Manic. And
genius plan.
TJP lets them know that he actually doesn't get along with Manic very well. They can hardly be around each other. Matter of fact, you'll probably never see them in the same room together. But hey, maybe if you see him, maybe you can talk him into it and we'll do it for you. So I'm assuming we're going to get some form of a TJP Manic. I hope they tape this and like cut the tapes, and I hope they cut the tapes poorly.
Yes, God, the worse it is, the better. Right. For my entertainment.
Correct. And we're going to get there because I hope they do this twice at the event.
Twice?
Yes.
Yes, twice.
Yes. Now, Rosemary is asked by Tenille if she's ready to move on from her best friend, and that Tenille understands what it's like to be disappointed by people and have to leave them or have to be without them, which intimidates Caleb with a K because he thinks that means she's leaving. And then Tenille lets him know that she pretty much doesn't think of him at all or anybody else but herself. But Rosemary, again, is not having that and screams something about her and her demons. And Tenille, of course, gets out of there because anybody discussing something with Rosemary, once she decides things have gone derogatory, it's time to get moving.
Yeah.
Because she can summon demons. So once you can summon demons, all things are out the window when you're mad, I believe. Havoc Nevaeh versus Jazz and Jordani Grace. This was an interesting. It was okay.
Yeah.
Havoc and Nevaeh are good at what they do. They kind of need dance partners.
Yeah.
Jazz is a couple of days away from retiring, and so the basically they figure out a way to single out Jazz, and Jazz takes the pin to get knocked out of this tournament, which puts Havoc and Nevaeh in the finals against Tasha Steelz, Kiera Hogan. But the interesting thing to me is that she did take that pin, and that they're going to give her a singles match with Jordani. Jazz getting to finish her career out with a match, somebody of Jordani Grace's caliber, I think was neat. I thought for sure the decision in the booking would be Jazz loses her last match against Steelz and Hogan, but I think I like this better. I think she gets her tribute. I think it works, and it's going to be at Genesis 2, which means it doesn't take up time on Hard to Kill, which I think is also probably a good move. We're going to move on to Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns promo. They're mad, blah, blah, blah. They go looking for the Good Brothers and Omega, and the Good Brothers and Omega evidently know they're coming because when they get to the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega and Don Callis's big, beautiful bus that they used to get from Jacksonville to wherever on earth in Tennessee they taped that thing. Good Brothers aren't in the van, so they're beating on the door, and of course Good Brothers sneak up on them, beat them up, which I don't really think that that's called a heel move because technically the babyfaces did go to assault them in their vehicle as they were not doing anything. So really, who's the heel here anyway? Omega, Good Brothers put the beat down on. Callis giggles. It works. This is interesting in that, of course, you have Omega, who is going to wrestle on a pay-per-view that is not his AEW company's pay-per-view.
Yes.
And he is the champion And that's that's really the buzz of American wrestling right now.
It's true. Did you see that tweet that Shelley put out? Where he's just like, man, this version of Bullet Club, because he's been around since the beginning of Bullet Club, and he said, like, this version is the fifth scariest. He said, there's no Tongans, man. Which he's damn right.
Yes.
There's no Tongans.
No Tongans.
Hey, if Haku seconds Kenny, then it's scary.
Right. Or if dude, I don't know if he's a Tongan, but
I don't think he would, though, because that's not Bullet Club.
right. I don't know about that, but somebody in the world needs to go find Jacob Fatu and give him all the money and let him run
right.
Dude.
I think he signed like a couple-year contract with MLW, though.
Well, if you're MLW, you can't let that guy get away. Not yet.
Oh, God, no.
Not until you just absolutely can't afford him.
Yeah.
Which is soon.
As soon as his contract's up, actually.
Yeah, he's
funnily
fantastic, right. And you probably have to ask him if he wants to do business. You know, like, are you willing to lose to this guy this time and kind of do a story, or you just want to just keep winning and being the champ?
Yeah.
Now we have Deanna and Kimber asking Father James Mitchell if he has ridded them of Sue Young, of their Sue Young issue. And he said, sorta. Susie, and the door opens, and Susie is now librarian type, prim proper businesswoman.
Susan.
And so this will be her third personality.
Let me say, I love this.
Absolutely.
This is great. The fact that there's more of them in there.
Yes.
She's like Jane from the DC show on HBO Max, Doom Patrol.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
It's perfect.
It's great. And again, this gives her care. It might not work on other wrestling shows. On this one, it does.
That's
and
the magic.
When she finishes this character, she can absolutely do another one if she wants to, or she can go back to Susie, or she can go back to Sue Young. She can do whatever, and it will always work.
I'm trying to think of the different names, though. Do you know any other, like, Sue names? There's Sue, Susan,
Suzette.
Suzette?
Suzette.
Is that like the like Oregon Trail version, the settler?
I was thinking like Suzette, as in like fancy dresser lady,
like high fashion.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, that's what I was hoping for. Yes, high heels. Because then when she goes so young, she can take the high heel, put it in someone's eye.
Perfect.
Yes, absolutely.
I hate this conversation.
All right,
but it's great.
Moose versus Matthew Palmer. In a beatdown for 2 minutes and 50 seconds, Moose is in no hurry to finish. He just wants to hurt the guy because he knows all he needs is 3 seconds to win. Once we get to the 50-second mark, Willie Mack comes out, distracts our man Moose, and before Moose can get turned around after the 3 minutes are up, Matthew has rolled out of the ring with a win.
Picking up the dub.
Setting up the I Quit match for Willie Mack and Moose, and that's awesome.
How do you think that turns out?
I don't see how Willie Mack can quit.
I don't see how Moose
can lose.
Yeah.
So somebody has to quit for Willie Mack. Like he has to be unconscious and somebody come out and just Rich Swann or some. Probably Rich Swann winds up going into a program with Moose next anyway.
That's a valid point.
Whenever that winds up happening. So maybe he's the guy who comes out and says, you have to stop. He's unconscious. And then that turns into post-Omega Rich Swann and Moose. Or Moose cost Swann his rivalry with Omega. That way you kind of save face with your belt. You have a good match.
Yeah.
Kenny dominates towards the end. Swann has a shot at winning it on some kind of horse manure move, like a roll-up or whatever. Moose distracts. Kenny goes over. Nobody loses face. The guy in the more, as Tony Khan has told us throughout his commercials, he has more money.
I like those commercials.
I know.
They're funny, man. I like how he's gone from passive aggressive to just like openly aggressive.
Right, and Tony Schiavone is just money no matter what you put him in. Even when he's overwhelmingly awkward, he's still money.
It's perfect.
Yeah, right.
Because that's just, it feels real.
Right.
Because that kind of is who he is.
And we'll get there with that too. Now, Ethan Page has a split personality, as we know, and he's having a therapy session to figure that out with Karate Man, who is another one of his personalities. And at some point, Karate Man challenges Ethan Page to a match, And as they stand and look each other nose to nose, it is odd, but the same person supposedly is Ethan Page and Karate Man, but Karate Man is much bigger. He's taller than Ethan Page. So they will have a match. So hopefully this will be a match where Ethan Page is, hopefully this is a cinematic match. Hopefully it is edited terribly, just like the other one I hope for.
Yes.
And we get to move forward with greatness in non-greatness.
That's kind of
Impact's thing.
there is something so rewarding and just
Campy.
Yes, it's endearing.
Right.
Is the word I would use for it when something doesn't look great or it's like it uses a stock sound effect. It's like whatever, man.
Right.
I'm not out here with a microscope critiquing every aspect of it because I wouldn't have any fun.
Right, because a second ago this one lady was with a split. I've got 4 split personalities going on the show. I'm not getting too specific on stuff right now.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
okay.
I'm here for camp. I'm here for cult.
Good old fun wrestling.
Correct.
While also having good in-ring product and compelling stories. In addition, you get a little bit of everything.
The mixture of wrestling company, indie wrestling company.
Yes.
It's that fine line between MLW and AEW.
You get lots of good wrestling, lots of good storylines, and some Tommy Dreamer ones.
And woo! Speaking of guys that can really wrestle, Eddie Edwards comes to the ring.
I should clarify. I don't really mind Tommy Dreamer. It's just like he has
plays
a match
his part.
every single pay-per-view. He comes out and he's like, I'm a good guy, defender of the roster. We're gonna have a no DQ match, and it's like, okay.
And Eddie Edwards has the same
And he
exact
loses.
role in the company, but he's younger, so he's in like a legitimate.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Right. But and like you said too, though, I expect Dreamer to have this role as much as I expect him to go to the bathroom, put on his judge outfit, and do Wrestler's Court.
We need more Wrestler's Court segments.
Obviously. Okay, so this winds up being a physical brawl with a DQ because they knocked the ref down 3 times.
He was done. He said, screw it.
I'm done with these guys. Now that turns into Eddie attacking Sammy anyway, and Sammy, as he's crawling up the ramp, manages to get his Hacker Man control thingy and put a picture of Alicia Edwards in some place in the bowels of the building. There is a cage that she is locked up in that has barbed wire on the door. Of course, Eddie panics and goes to try to find her and save her, which who knew that Ken Shamrock would be there awaiting, and we get the beat down. And
I knew.
I knew too.
I
had a hunch.
Functioning brain.
And so he gets the beat down that being this gullible deserves. You know, he probably should have left Alicia at the house today.
Yeah, why does Alicia show up, bro? She's getting beat up.
Yeah, and so
Sami Callihan menaces her every week.
Right, and Eddie gets wrapped in barbed wire, cut to commercials. A great time was had by all. Moving on to our main event of the wrestling week. All right, AEW cast Christopher Daniels, Nick, Matt Jackson versus Angelico, Jack Evans, Anthony Bowens, and
Max Caster.
Max Caster.
I did a couple things.
Yes.
The Young Bucks and SCU were wearing Your Rap is Crap t-shirts as a reference to, I don't remember what gimmick it was from like the early 2000s. Or
Mr.
90s.
Perfect in them had a Rap is
Rap
Crap
yeah.
gimmick.
That was it was in reference to that. I mean, it was horrible and more than a little racist.
well, not by Kazan. They were specifically doing.
They said your.
Yeah, they were
Rap is
specifically talking
crap.
about that guy right there.
Which
I thought he did good.
he did good. Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
I like the line where he said in the Young Bucks it was something about calling them John Cena guys, and that was kind of petty. Something.
Marty Jannetty.
And the Young Bucks Jannetties.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. See, I like the rhyme structures. I like the flow. I think what you were talking about with them having nerves, I feel like they have.
Right.
It flowed smoother. It was a
Right.
little more complex. It was there was a stinger in there or two. You know, it's fine.
It
they
worked.
they dunked on Snoop Dogg.
Of course. They're heels.
The last line was weird, but like that's fine.
What was the last line?
I can't say it on a family podcast.
Yes. Very good match, I thought. Hybrid 2 looked great. The Acclaimed looked good. They did not, as they are the less experienced tag team, you wind up having a couple of things where they don't quite click, and that winds up, of course, swinging the momentum of the match. Matt had a segment in there. I just love watching Angelico and Jack Evans wrestle, period.
Dude, yes.
And Angelico had some really great moments in there. Now, Matt has, of course, once the tide turns, Matt has a segment where he basically bowling balls everybody that's standing outside of the ring, and then that turns into the double whammy by the Bucks, which...
And then the best Meltzer ever, which was the finish. Oh, yeah, right. Because they
missed the best...
No. See, I remember this because it was crazy. So it was CD and the Bucks in the ring. Mm-hmm. Nick had him up in the right position for either the best Meltzer ever or Meltzer driver.
Right.
Matt goes up, or was Matt holding him? One of the Bucks goes up and on the corner turnbuckle, and you think he's going to do the backflip and do that off, but he jumps forwards off into the void, as we don't see, but he jumps onto a couple of the other guys.
Right.
It was a crazy spot because you think it's gonna. It was one of those things where it's like, whoa, what was that?
And
what was he doing?
And that sets up the best Meltzer driver.
Best Meltzer ever.
The best Meltzer moonsault ever.
No, just best Meltzer ever.
Oh, but it's the moonsault, right?
Yeah, it's the best moonsault ever. Just
right.
Meltzer.
And so that's the finish. I thought it was well done. I enjoyed it. It was what they do first match almost every week.
Good time. Great times.
Correct. Started off good. Mox comes out to give his I'm back speech, and he talks about how he could complain, but where he comes from, life isn't fair, life's unforgiving, and you push through whatever complications come your way, and he's going to do that with Kenny Omega. And whoever that used car salesman is that's with Kenny Omega, which would be Don Callis.
Don Callis does look like a used car salesman.
Absolutely. He is a used car salesman.
Pretty much any wrestling promoter in another life is a used car salesman.
Correct. Or in this life, and people are just cars to them.
Yeah. That's deep.
All right.
You might be right.
Yes, I'm always right. Pay attention. Zero tolerance policy for shitey people. I like this. I like the whole thing. The only issue I had with this, I enjoyed the fact that Moxley did a shout out to the Kane character where his hair was shaved halfway back. Moxley's got a hair island going there. I don't know if you noticed.
I think that's why he started cutting it short, I believe.
Yes. But this was really good, and he looked mad, and he let us know that, I left out that Phoenix had been working his whole career to get to the point where he had a world championship match on a primetime television show in the States. And as much as Moxley wanted to attack Omega and his crew, he would not do that prior to Phoenix getting the opportunity that he had earned. That's not who Moxley is as a person. And I thought that was a neat thing to throw in there. I respect his path. I don't respect yours.
I don't know. Mox really does. He goes above and beyond. Even when I think he can just go out there and make a standard segment of, I'm angry, I'm going to beat you up. It's like, I'm angry, but I'm not immature as I used to be. I'm not going to come out here and yell and scream. I'm gonna hurt you. Count on it.
Also, he puts on the championship match later in the show. He put it over.
Yeah.
Big time. And even though he wasn't in it, which was...
Because he cares about it. He does legitimately care about it.
Absolutely. That's why he's here. Now, the best friends update us that Trent's hurt and he's going to be okay, but it's going to be a while. And Miro rolls up and kind of kills all this.
Do you see what he said to the interviewer? He's like, you can touch the drip.
He was great here. He was great. I've had an issue with the comedy bit of Miro here, but he is fun. He's a nice guy.
In a segment where he was actually able to talk and not you know?
Right. That's the difference. The other times he's walking around acting mad while the other guy's talking.
All right.
And here he's able to explain to you who he is as a character. And the whole, I'm going to make you my young boy, which young boy is a term in New Japan when you're helping the main roster people or the top guys.
That's
right?
young line.
Well, no, it's the same concept.
Right. You carry their bags. You do.
It's also I do want to interject. It's not really like that anymore.
Right.
With Tanahashi putting forth a lot of criticism of it, as from everything I've heard, it's way more. It's like a dojo where people train, and yeah, you do dishes and you cook, but you're
not carrying my luggage.
Yeah, you're not. You're also like not really like someone might stop in and they might eat what you're cooking, but you know, as far as everything
they're
I
not
can
going to
see,
eat your meal. which is the way it would have been before.
Yeah, you can make a big pot of soup and someone comes by and eats some of it with you.
Right.
But yeah, because I mean, the Young Lions post stuff on social media where it's just like, oh, someone really likes to cook, so the whole time he's been training there, he's cooking.
Right.
And they're eating it, and it's good, but it's not. It's not what Miro's describing. I'm trying to say.
It's not you're in the fraternity. You pledge. It's not fraternity pledge style stuff.
It's not
right?
hazing.
Correct.
Basically.
Right. I was trying to come up with a word, but before it slipped. All right, we get Wardlow and Hagar, and this is way better than it deserved to be.
Dude, I really like this match.
It really was good, and I thought it had the right result as Wardlow winds up going over clean with his finisher. And then you have Hagar stand up and respect Wardlow at the end. And I had a flashback. I was like, man, you could put these guys in a tag team together and they would be like, remember when Kane and Taker were the Brothers of Destruction? It's that level of physicality you could put together and they could run roughshod. Yes. And it would be such a great counter to what the division, other than FTR, you don't have that muscle. It would be such a great counter to what the division really excels at, which is all of the other things that aren't overwhelming physicality.
Yes.
So I think that would be. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if they'll do it. Go ahead.
I think commentary actually helped with this match because something they said was that Hager would out-wrestle Wardlow, but Wardlow often with striking, with making the most out of big opportunities. That was literally how the match played out. The match was smartly set up because it worked like that.
Right.
Their dynamic made perfect sense.
I also think I was kind of done with Jericho early on because he screamed every sentence.
Oh, he was too much this episode.
But he was perfect in this match.
Yeah, this match where he's talking about how they were both great. He was putting them both over. He was putting Hager over more.
Well, he was throwing softballs to Ross about his greatness at the University of Oklahoma and JR being a famous Oklahoma alum and all that other stuff. Boomer, Sooner guy. Wonderful, though, right?
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
And also, if you do put them in a tag team, you get that. You ever see They Live? All the good action movies or a lot of good action movies have the two bulls, the two alpha males, and they fight, and then they get mad at each other, and then there's also an enemy on the other side. So somehow they respect each other post fight. And then one of the best ones is in that movie They Live with Roddy Piper, where he fights. I think his name's Keith David, but it's wonderful. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I'm all bubble gum, and then they go after it. So you could get that mutual respect dynamic going, and then of course they could wind up splitting and fighting against each other down the road.
It's an explosive relationship.
Absolutely. Now Darby Allin versus Brian Cage in a who weighs more match.
It's Brian.
It's
Cage.
It's a weigh-in actually.
He weighs like twice as much as Darby.
100 pounds.
It's a draw.
275.
It's more than that.
275 to 175.
Darby does not weigh 170.
You don't think? He weighs 170?
He weighs 170 with a bunch of clothes on, like Taz was saying. I don't know.
I don't think for 1 second he weighs 170.
No. Unless that dude's real dense.
140.
Yeah.
But they did utilize this. I saw some people being critical of this, but they utilized this to underline the difference in size.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Taz runs his mouth, Stinger comes out, gets in the way, so we keep to push that forward. Go ahead.
Couple notes. New belt.
Mm-hmm.
New belt design. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's it has more colors. It just looks a little better, a little more distinguished for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Sting comes out. I'm still a little wishy-washy with the Sting Darby dynamic. Because on some level, I do understand how they're similar, but on other levels, I don't quite see it. Like, Darby's not really the, like, you've said that Sting was like the conscience of pro wrestling, where he would
when the NW yes,
he would watch from the
purpose of
rafters
Crow,
and strike when injustice was happening, or something along. That's what I've heard.
The way it started, if I remember correctly, not the way it really started, which was Scott Hall telling him to go stand in the roof. Or, the Crow, when he was looking for something else, Scott Hall comes up with the Crow character for him and the whole concept. But the way it kind of started in routine is you have, Lex turns on him. The wrestling world has kind of turned away from who his character is. It's not Venice Beach, it's not Ultimate Warrior, it's not Hulk Hogan anymore. It's kind of more of who you are really. And Scott Hall and Kevin Nash aren't Razor Ramon and Diesel, they're Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. That's who they are. You know what I mean? But also the cartoonish nature of all of it isn't there, but by the same token, Hogan has turned his back on all the fans, and then Sting goes into a darker place because there's no room for that in wrestling no more. Everything's more realistic, which takes him into this conscience of pro wrestling character. Now, of course, that winds up getting, like all pro wrestling angles, it gets weirder and weirder to the point where Sting's wearing red face paint and tag team with Kevin Nash and the Wolfpack and all that, which is later on, and everything.
Gotta swerve him, brother.
Everything gets ruined at some point. Other than the fact that did give us New Japan NWO.
My man Chono.
Chono, baby. Get some sunglasses. Okay, now, Private Party forgot their gin and juice. Snoop's got it, because Snoop Doggy Dogg is on the show. What do you think?
He was certainly there for this segment.
He was.
He was present.
This segment. This segment did have Snoop Dogg.
Hardy rolls up and has a contract for them to sign, as he will now be their manager. And he can't, dude, two things Hardy did here. One, I can't wait for you guys to be iconic, which I thought was interesting and could possibly have been a shout out to two people that got split up inexplicably in a different company. You know what I'm talking about?
Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Correct. And he said, I'm no monster. You can keep your Twitch. You can keep your
cameo.
Which is it was almost like he threw a softball over there and then he threw a heater. You know what I mean? which I enjoy. I enjoy a little good fun here. Okay.
Poking fun's half the fun of it.
Considering his brother's over there, why not? Dude, his brother's over there in a tag team that's called what are they calling it? It's him and Riddle, and it's
I'm sorry, Jeff Hardy and Matt Riddle? What is it called? Oh.
Dude, it is called the Hardy Bros.
No, dude. Matt Hardy should just go out live mic next week. Just dunk on WWE for the first 5 minutes of the episode.
Hardy Bros. Ugh. Okay, Cody Rhodes versus Matt Sydal.
Okay, what'd you think of the theme?
Where Snoopy. I apologize, world. Where Snoop Dogg raps.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool.
Snoop Dogg.
He was willing to put a line down over the top of it. Did you have a problem?
I don't think there was good lines, but
I think.
Well, I don't.
I think this is further evidence that Snoop Dogg has never uttered the sentence, "I don't care how much you pay me."
And Snoop Dogg is going to be ringside as the Arn Anderson here, because he does have the standard Waffle House menu.
Yeah. I literally have written down here Snoop with the Waffle House menu.
Correct. And Cody wrestles Matt Sydal, and this is really. I thought this was really good. In the middle of it, Cody winds up sucker punching Serpentico on accident, and even turns to the ref and says it was on accident, which allows Sydal to get the advantage for a second.
There is something I want to bring up though that you said about this match, Dad. Mm-hmm. It kind of made me wonder.
Yeah.
So Cody was pinning Matt Sydal, right?
Yeah.
And then no, it was the other way around. Matt Sydal was pinning Cody, right?
Right.
And he kicked out, and you, Dad, went, I thought Matt was gonna win there.
Like there was any outcome of this match.
I did think
Or Cody's shoulders were on the mat for 30 seconds.
Didn't you think
No.
Cody hit him with the second crossroads to kind of make him seem more formidable or more tough or something?
I think so. I don't.
That was some weird olive branch to the kid because they were, I'm going to get there anyway, but they were together in both of their formative years in WWE, and I'm sure that they worked. You could tell there was chemistry there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They've worked together, Okay, now Serpentico and Luther hit the ring as soon as it's over because they are upset. Luther being as we well know, the
original death dealer. That's what Snoop said that. You see, you heard him mouthing it. He was like, "Oh my God, is that the original death dealer?" He said that. Definitely.
Yes.
He definitely said that.
Yeah.
And so once Seidel comes, as they're jumping Cody, Seidel kind of gets his grips together, and we have the new hottest faction in pro wrestling, the Cross-Born Dogs. No?
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
The CBDs? Oh, come on!
I didn't even realize, man.
Got him. Okay. And so Snoop Dogg, okay, first of all, Evan Bourne kicks a death match legend once, and that dude is gone for 5 minutes as they beat down my man Serpentico for the Snoop Dogg from the top rope, unlike any luchador you've ever seen.
Thankfully.
I actually wrote thankfully in my notes. It's like we shared notes here.
One brain.
Yes. He did not hurt himself, however, which was great. And then I love how Excalibur tried to sell it by going, it was a double knee splash combo because he lands and then his knees hit and then he falls on him. The double knee splash combo.
According to plan.
Excalibur. And then Snoop
that was a move.
As Jericho is screaming that he hates Snoop Dogg, Snoop gets up and runs over there, and so then Jericho has to just straight up shut his mouth and hug the man because he can't not hug Snoop Dogg.
It's Snoop Dogg.
Yes. And it was fun. It just was.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was, as much as I kind of groan at a lot of like celebrity segments, especially one I was really groaning at it because it's Cody.
Yeah.
I get it. He has a show to...
They have a show on in the family of networks. It makes sense.
It's not completely random out of nowhere like the Shaq thing was, which also has gone nowhere, by the way.
But again, the Shaq thing is... Shaq's on TNT.
He's on the network. It makes sense. It's not... Right. They're not trotting out some random person who doesn't care about wrestling like they did with Mike Tyson.
And as great as Cody is in the fantastic amateur wrestler that Cody was, Georgia State champion, he don't want no Shaq.
That dude's big. Yeah. That dude's big.
Cody's the same size as his leg. Matter of fact, Shaq's leg outweighs
Darby
Allin by 100 pounds.
Yeah?
Okay. Sheeta versus Abandon next. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
About Abaddon versus Sheeta?
Mm-hmm.
It was mild. It was sufficiently sports entertaining, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way that Sheeta getting dragged under the ring by a demon did tickle my impact senses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where it's just like, okay, all right. I mean, I was like, okay, that's a good visual, and they hovered there a while so they could show the go big show thing prominently.
Correct. That probably is the whole purpose of that, was to heighten that one commercial. Not commercial, but the poster on the side of the ring, right?
So that happens, and they get out, and then Abaddon decides that instead of continuing to bite her, she will do some wrestling.
Yes.
And then they wrestle a little bit.
And Sheeta wins.
Mm-hmm. There were certainly moves and wrestling.
Just moves.
It was fine. I don't have anything to really say all that bad or all that good.
So let's move on to our main event of the evening, unless you want to talk about something
else.
Actually,
commentary during this match was strange because they kept... Like, I get now that it's 2020, you can't exactly be... Like, you couldn't debut The Undertaker and be like, oh, he's supernatural. You can't exactly do that.
Right.
Even with the Matt Hardy teleporting thing, they explained that by saying it was holograms, projections, something
right.
Sci-fi, but not,
Right.
But like commentary kept saying like, oh, she's crazy. She really believes all this, and just kept on and on and on about that. And I was like, all right.
Well, why not let her just be?
Why not? Yeah, why not just let her just be?
Or not even say that.
It's also,
You know what I mean? Like you can describe who she is and what she is without saying it's real or not real, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's also weird to me that she apparently bit Hikaru Shida's artery, and
The match went on for another 10 minutes.
She'd have just built different, bro. I don't know what to tell you. She just built different. You
She
see that?
is slap booked like Cena.
You see that mirror thing there in her which never comes up and has no relevance to anything? That's her suit of armor. That's her invisible.
That's why
I don't
she runs
know.
like
That's her for real, though. That's her for real. That flesh is a joke. She really is the disco ball.
Straight up.
Coming to bring it. All right. Now, for your main event of the evening, Phoenix versus Omega. What did you think?
This was a really fast episode, honestly. Like I like watching it when I finally got to the main event and it said the main event was next. I was like, damn, really?
This is a good match. Good.
But yeah, this match was good, great, really.
Really good.
There were some really cool spots.
Good.
I like the Poison Rana, like at the beginning of the match where he just spikes himself.
Yeah. Dude, these guys are great. This is one of my favorite Omega matches. I don't know. That's sacrilege to say something like that, but I liked the way I liked the AAA match they had. I like the way they mix up. Sometimes when Kenny's wrestling a bigger guy and he picks him up and like their whole body is so much bigger than his, even though Kenny's strong, it's just an odd optic. Phoenix fits so perfectly, and Kenny is very strong. So when he jumps on him, Kenny can legitimately catch him and hold him.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing fake about that. It's not like you having somebody have to help you lift him up. You know what I mean? Which every wrestler in the world has to have help lifting people up and all that. It's just the way it works. It's just sometimes these guys are so big it looks optically strange because Kenny is strong yet not huge.
yeah.
And Phoenix fits perfectly to what he does. Phoenix is so fast, and I just really loved what I was watching going on. I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was Phoenix at his best.
Absolutely.
I mean, Phoenix doing what he does best. Mm-hmm. I really like that spot where he does like a moonsault from the corner, and he like immediately lands behind Kenny and German suplexes him.
Perfect.
Right on his neck.
Right.
Great.
Seamless.
Absolutely. It was cool.
And that's a tough spot.
Yeah, dude. Phoenix is he's inhuman.
Correct. Now, of course, Omega retains and he gets the win here. Then we have Then we have Penta and Pac backstage getting beat up by Eddie Kingston and Butcher Blade Bunny. And Callis and Omega are going to finish Phoenix off, and Mox hits the ring to prevent this with a barbed wire baseball bat. Gallows and Anderson, who I don't know that we have seen them. Have we seen them on this show before?
Never.
Gallows and Anderson attack. So now we have Impact on AEW, and we get this attack here, beating down Mox, Pillman, and Griff Garrison are outside watching. They are not going to let this continue. They jump in and get a beat down for their troubles. Then you have the Young Bucks come out to eventually stop the violence, as it looks as if Kenny is going to... He's already hit John a couple of times with the bat. He's been hit with the bat as well. But now he's got it, and the Bucks stop the violence. They look flustered, however, having history together in the Bullet Club in New Japan many years earlier. Kenny and them convince them to do the Too Sweet sign in the middle of the ring. We cut to credits, I believe, on that. And what did you think of the post-match things?
All right, let's start with
it's a lot.
It's a lot. And I don't particularly love any of it, in all honesty.
Okay.
I think, like, why were they going to end Phoenix's career?
Because he bothered to wrestle them.
Oh, so really generic bad guy stuff, huh? Just really bland, just middle of the road, boring. Oh, how dare this guy challenge me?
Well, now let's say fantasy book, right? Why not just have Mox attack without Phoenix being involved at all? Oh, okay. You thought the same thing. All right. Okay.
Same thing. It's like, okay, even
because Mox said, "I'm not going until Phoenix."
Yeah, straight up.
It's done. Once Phoenix was done, Mox could have hit the ring.
Even if I want to have Eddie Kingston and gang attack, that could happen fine. Just you could be like, oh, we're not going to let these dudes come out here and mess us up, or we're not going to let them cheat in the match or something, some other explanation. Why were they going to end Phoenix's career? There's no reason for it. Mm-hmm. It just felt like, oh man, we really need to push. No,
there was a reason.
Bad guy. What?
You forgot.
What?
The one-winged angel, he hit it, and Phoenix bothered to try to lift his arm up.
Oh, he went into business for himself, brother.
Yes.
That's not going to work for me, brother. They were going to shoot end that man's career.
Okay, so, and then what else?
Gallows Anderson come out, blah, blah, blah. Young Bucks come out. Blah, blah, blah. Young Bucks don't seem completely on board. God, I hope they're not. Evidently, Nick Jackson got mildly injured at some point during one of the earlier matches.
Oh.
Yeah, it's some kind of leg thing. I hope it's fine. Contusion?
Contusion's bruise.
Yeah. I hope he's fine. Anyways.
I think pro wrestlers always have contusions.
Honestly.
Yeah. But a badly placed one can be troublesome. Now,
I just don't know.
Don't we think that if we are going to continue this for a few months, then we have the Good Brothers versus the Young Bucks at some point?
I hope so.
For said titles.
I hope so. And it's oh man, the Bucks. So the Bucks have turned heel from whatever alignment they were before.
An hour. It was an hour earlier. The Bucks have turned into the Big Show. Remember how the Big Show was a heel in the face and a heel in the face every other
Same
episode?
show, bro. It's accelerating. At this point, we will get a heel turn every 20 minutes until 5 minutes until we have a heel turn every 30 seconds. This is just like Pacific Rim.
He's gonna kick, what's his name, Martinez?
Every
Martinez?
time
The backstage announcer,
so are we
what's his
saying
name?
That every time
The backstage interviewer guy?
sorry.
Alex Marvez.
I
You were
apologize.
close. You were
I
close.
apologize. One of them's going to super kick Marvez for the heel turn, and the other one's going to catch him and stand him up, and they'll be faces again.
Yes. It's just
So is this
It's a little much,
so
right?
is this
Okay.
technically, let's say technically in this universe, every time the Young Bucks hit a super kick, they turn face and heel?
maybe that's the secret. It's like
like a
Dr.
switch.
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, except not at all like that. I haven't read the book, so I don't know, No, it's weird, and I guess that could be part of it. The fact that, okay, they were faces to CD and Kaz earlier. Yeah, sure. If you guys are in a match, we'll give it to you. We'll respect you. We do respect you. We're tagging with you. Then later on, they're like, I guess I'm with both. I guess I'm with these guys again.
Well, I think though
I
that
just don't know.
my thing is not my thing. It's absolutely not my thing. But my guess is they're not really turning.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to tell their friends.
No.
I'm not on board.
We've all been there, actually.
Correct.
So I think if that's the way it goes, but the whole standing there two sweeting each other.
Well, another thing is they weren't really on board with Omega anyway.
Yeah,
Pre-show.
crazy.
There's no real, weren't they mad at Omega when he stormed off with the belt?
Yeah. Yeah, that was not great for them.
In kayfabe world and real world, they allow themselves to be known as part owner, right? In kayfabe world.
EVP.
Right.
EVP.
Right. So why would they be on board with Kenny taking their belt in kayfabe world to another company to work when said guy is, the logic isn't there. However, this is absolutely the biggest angle in pro wrestling right now, and they're being allowed to run a commercial for AEW on Tuesday night on one channel, on Wednesday night on another channel, on pay-per-views that aren't theirs, on pay-per-views that are theirs. So maybe I'm wrong.
I just want to get it out there. Facts, that ain't Bullet Club. If Tama Tonga ain't in it, ain't Bullet Club.
Where's Jay White?
Where's Jay White? Jay White's better wrestler than anyone on AEW roster. Straight up.
Right this second.
I'm shooting.
Right this second. Jay White is as good as it gets.
That's not Bullet Club.
Mm-mm.
That's not Bullet Club. And I feel like that's kind of, I hope that's part of the angle they end up doing, where it's just like, man, you ain't Bullet Club.
Well, I think, too, that's...
Y'all left.
I think, too, you being a person who is, forgive me for saying this, fairly emotionally invested in the New Japan product.
It's true.
That is why this angle to you doesn't hit you the same way it would hit somebody who New Japan is a concept and Bullet Club is a legend. that they've heard about. Whereas you're like, well, hold on, man. The Bone Soldier.
Where are the Tongans?
Yes, exactly. You know what I mean?
Haku would kill those dudes.
This is personal.
He could 1v5 all of them in the ring and kill them.
If Haku shows up, they're all even.
Yeah, straight up. They're going to need a sixth man for Haku.
Matter of fact, Jericho will be like, I know him pretty good. Real good. Matter of fact, he saved my life in Mexico City one time because people were too scared to, like, arrest me. Y'all need to leave.
Dude, man, I do earnestly hope this turns into because man, the Elite versus OGB Bullet Club never went anywhere in New Japan.
Right.
If we end up getting the Young Bucks versus God, or Young Bucks versus Good Brothers,
dude,
or God versus Good Brothers,
dude, if this could wind up with an AEW / Impact New Japan show in the Garden in a year, come on!
I can only be so excited, man. You can't be putting these
field
thoughts
trip,
in my head. Field trip, baby. I'm gonna start saving now for the possibility.
We'll do a GoFundMe. Right. Speaking of which, the Gin Project, Charles Gibson, and all of them. Thank you for the sponsorship. Appreciate you guys, and for my man New Japan Jared, my man the Go Home Heat Kid Ray from EKP. This has been a Go Home Heat production. Copyright 2020.
Go home.